Welcome back to Berserk's complete story right here at Mangastorian. Today we're going to be covering 232 to 235. Now in our last video we watched Guts put on the Berserker armor and succumb to his rage while fighting against Grunbeld. While Shirkei managed to pull Guts out of his own darkness, Flora used the last of her strength to allow the heroes to make a hasty escape. Meanwhile over at Wyndham, a new threat appears as the Kushan Emperor Ganishka brings a fog coating the nation, turning the animals into giant beasts that devour any and all resistance. While Salat walks through the city trying to figure out a method on which to restore honor to his clan name, his Tapasa notices a presence following them. As the shadowy mass forms behind them, the two Bakiraka turn around swinging and Salat himself throws a bladed disc. Rakshas weaves through the attacks laughing, stating, "Ha ha ha, it's easy to get behind you," taunting that the Bakiraka have really fallen far. Salat asks if he's come to assassinate the Emperor because it would be foolish for an assassin to let himself be seen. And Rakshas tells him that he did not come alone, and through the gate comes Locust leading a cavalry into the city. Salat quickly notices, "Who is this?" and he jumps out of the way before getting trampled on. Rakshas tells the three of them that if they really want to talk big, they can do so after stopping him. Word gets out of Griffith's invasion, and Ganishka tells his men that they will give him a warm welcome and see how their power fares inside of the demon castle. The Kushan archers lie in the buildings, firing onto Locust and his men, and with ease, Locust slashes through the air, cutting through the approaching arrows. For the ones that did find their mark, though, the demon soldiers pull them, crushing them, continuing to ride on. Before the next wave of archers can fire, the arrows begin to fall on them as Irvine and his archers attack first. Back in the streets, the Kushan foot soldiers brace themselves, but Locust and his men charge through, impaling most of them with their lances, stomping on the rest. Ganishka telepathically watches and he groans, stating that he thought the human soldiers cannot stand against the apostles. Then they shall face the Daka. Locust moves through the city until he reaches the next opening, and then he sees an army before him. Ganishka's Daka, demonic soldiers of their own, stand in their path in great numbers. Locust tells his men to stop, and Ganishka calls out that these are soldiers that he created with his own magic. They are demons of hell. Locust then announces himself as the captain of the band of the Hawk's Lancers. He would assume that he is the emperor then, right? Ganishka calls out that he is none other than Ganishka, ruler of the Kushan Empire. And if they are extremely powerful warriors, then it would be reckless to launch an attack with such small numbers. Or could it be an order from the Hawk to gauge their powers? Going beyond the laws of man, he asks as an apostle why oppose their lord. Ganesha bursts out laughing, telling him, "I will not allow such foolish statements from peons. I am the great emperor, the king of kings, and the one who shall spread dominion over the nations. In this world, I am the one absolute principle, and if you wish to absolve that, then you shall pay with your blood. Even God himself came, and he shall be stained with the grasp of this blood-covered hand." Locust begins to grind his teeth as his eyes begin to glow, telling Ganishka, "Don't get cocky, peon." Ganishka laughs, telling him, "Try and stop me!" And then the surrounding Daka begin to rush towards Locust and his forces. Meanwhile, alone in the city walls, Salat chases after Rakshas, hopping and jumping from rooftop to rooftop. Salat senses that Rakshas is probably leading them somewhere and then sees a giant domed building. Salat sneaks in and he doesn't find Rakshas, but rather a giant lump of flesh made from many smaller demons. Salat and his men stare in horror as they watch the Kushan men begin to lower a woman into the center of the flesh and drop her in there. The moment the woman sinks into the water, her stomach begins to rumble, and then from it, a young Daka rips through. Down on the bottom, the Daka is then collared and put into a cage with the others. Salat says that this is inhumane, and then the faint laughs of Rakshas can be heard from the window. Rakshas tells him, "It's interesting, isn't it? They're using apostles to create demon creatures, and with all of them chained together, filling with the ammonic fluid, throwing a pregnant woman in would result in a demonic offspring." Salat shouts, asking, "What the hell do you know?" And Rakshas says, "Well, I will tell you just one thing. Our lord is the true demon king, and he is not human." As Rakshas escapes, Salat turns to leave, asking, "What the hell has our emperor done? Has he opened up the gateway to hell?" However, in the town square, the Daka all begin to charge towards Locust, and in a flash, they all stop. Skewered along the sides of a lance are the Daka bodies hanging, and with the twist of that lance, they're all flung onto the ground. As the flash fades, Locust stands in his apostle form, fused with both armor and a horse. Ganishka comments that a monster that takes on armor and a horse, that's the equipment of a demon knight. And Locust tells him that he doesn't think that their demon knights can be defeated by soldiers of his quality. More Daka bodies begin to fall, and as the remaining apostles begin to change into their forms, they kill the remaining surrounding groups. Locust then gives the order for the Demon Lancer Division to attack. Ganishka smiles as he holds out his hand, and then the low sounds of rumbling can be heard. Elephants begin to stomp through the stone stairs, and Ganishka shouts, "This is a feast for demons! This is surely an appropriate spectacle for the demon castle!" While the fight begins, Salat watches on the rooftop, stating that hell is flooding out. He looks over at the Emperor, thinking back to Rakshas said, and he asks if he's really the Demon King. While overlooking the battle, Ganishka tells the knight that he calls himself Locus, and it's quite impressive. He's worthy of leading men, but how long can he fight against the overwhelming number of the Daka? Just as Ganishka's numbers grow along the rooftops, Irvine and his men get into position. Seeing a clear shot, Irvine fires an arrow into Ganishka, and Ganishka mutters, "Useless." As the arrow would hit, Ganishka's body turns into mist, allowing the arrow to pass through. And then a giant image of Ganishka's face appears behind Irvine, telling him, "It is futile." The unseen force then crashes down on the roof, forcing Irvine to jump, stopping the entire battle. Everyone looks up to see the giant Ganishka grow larger, looming over the entire field. And then he tells Locus and Irvine, "You are undersized creatures, so overconfident for the small amount of evil that you've received into your bodies. But now you can see true power!" Lightning begins to emit from Ganishka's form, striking down on all those that oppose him, burning their bodies in the process. Back at a safe distance, though, Salat watches and says that Ganishka is no demon king. This power, it is a demon god. Ganishka calls out to those that have entered his castle that they are insects running across the palm of my hand. There's no way that your petty goal will be accomplished. Be content knowing that my army will crush you. Locus smiles, telling him that that's some exception. But will it work out like that, I wonder? Ganishka shouts, "I shall shut that mouth of yours." However, soaring above the city, a wing can be seen, and over at the Tower of Rebirth, Anna listens to the thundering and tells Princess Charlotte that the castle seems quite noisy tonight. Charlotte doesn't respond, but rather continues sewing more images of Griffith. And as Anna walks over and takes the embroidery set and says that any more of this will just poison herself, it's time to rest. Charlotte remains silent, and as Anna puts her to bed, she tells her that no matter what, she will never leave her side. Anna then closes the door, and Charlotte gets back into bed and continues to sew. But at that moment, the wind blows through the window and the light begins to shine. Charlotte asks who it is and then hides her face behind her sewing. However, a figure with long, beautiful hair appears in the silhouette. As the footsteps get closer to the bed, Charlotte sees him, the man that she's been longing for, Griffith, and he says, "Please excuse me for this intrusion." Charlotte's eyes widen as she says, "No, this is a dream, it has to be." Over and over, she has pictured this moment and she's unable to tell the difference between reality and dreams. But as Charlotte goes on, she begins to hang her head, stating, "Please, don't disappear like last time." Griffith takes her hand and he sits at the bed and he looks at her finger. A small droplet of blood forms where she struck herself. And Griffith says, "The princess went to a long sleep after you pricked yourself with a needle. Isn't there a fairy tale like that?" He takes the finger and he kisses the wound, licking the blood. And Charlotte tells him, "No, the princess has awoken." A few moments later, over in Anna's chamber, the guard knocks on the door, telling her that the princess is calling for her. She hurries to get dressed, and as she enters Charlotte's room, Charlotte tells her to hurry and get in bed. She sits down trying to cloak herself, and Charlotte says no matter what happens, hold onto the bed and don't let go. Anna asks, "What? Did you have a nightmare?" And Charlotte tells her, "No. I don't know why, but Griffith told me to prepare like this." She grabs a hold of one of the bedposts, and Anna yawns, stating, "That's nice." Just then, the ceiling begins to crumble and fall down. And back at this moment in the city, Locus tells his men to pull back. They are finished here. Ganishka shouts, "What is the meaning of this?" And the other apostles begin to clear the path. He watches as Locus's forces fall back, asking, "Why would you retreat when you have broken through my army?" As he wonders, he looks back at the Tower of Rebirth and he notices a hole in the roof above Charlotte's room. Inside, her bed is gone and Ganishka screams, "Damn them! They planned this." However, with Charlotte and Anna, Anna asks, "What is going on?" And as she looks over at the headboard, she sees that they are flying. And then she jumps under the cover, stating that this is all a dream. Mr. Bed will take them back home. Charlotte looks out into the sky, telling her, yes, this could be a dream, but she looks up to see Griffith. And she says that even with this fantastic imagery, why is her finger still warm? Zod then takes the large bed and continues to fly onwards. This concludes a mini arc in the story of Berserk, which is why this video is kind of small compared to the other ones. We've been trying to make them longer, and I hope we are achieving that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get more Berserk, and I'll see you on Twitter at Mangastorian.